not that professional.
Cool.
So it's industry feedback from college to industry.
Yep.
Steve Rowe.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, yeah, worked at the college, Culm College for many years, and as you know, we've been involved together, quite a bit together. And I just wanted to reach out to industry professionals, yourselves, and just to get your kind of viewpoint really as to what you're looking for in a college graduate.
A college graduate.
Yeah.
Personally, it's always about attitude. Attitude is everything. There's a million things, and this isn't particularly for chefs or catering or hospitality. It's a general rule of thumb. This applies to everybody starting out in any career. You turn up on time. It sounds simple, but turn up on time. Good attitude to work. Want to be there. If you don't want to be there, you don't be there. You just suck the energy out of a room, a kitchen. Ask questions, but not too many, not all day asking questions. You need, college is all about you learning, all concentrated on you learning. Work is a balance between you're producing something, you have to produce to make a living, to earn your keep. But you ask questions and don't have tunnel vision on what's in front of you. You take a look around the whole kitchen, see what's going on. Make notes, take a notebook. It sounds old school, but say good morning to everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that's a weird thing, but some people just come in and just start work. Say good morning.
We try and keep the chef thing going as well, so lots of ours, and we love to hear it, morning chef, and it just makes it.
How we doing? It's a pleasantry. It oils the wheels of the. And also, a massive thing for me, the first hour in the kitchen is massive. Like the golden hour of it sets the tone for the day. It sets, if you get productive, if you get things on. If you dawdle in and not really got any direction that first hour, you're always playing catch up. You're always, I think, on the back foot. So I always not start at 100 miles an hour, but start with purpose. Lists, prep lists, being organised. It applies to all industries. It's not especially for chefs or catering. And I also put something out on social media last night because I'm only one voice. We'll have Josh's opinion in a minute. He's prepping over there. Russell Brown, ex-Michelin star, great basic skills and a can-do that attitude. You don't need to know how to stir-fry pea juice. Andrew Jenkins, an inquiring mind, core understanding of skills and a willingness to learn. Being motivated by the work you have been given and understand this is a journey built on knowledge and experience. You don't become a head chef overnight. Oh, I didn't read this one. This is from the Magic Whisk. For me personally, it is the fact that a lot of chefs now enter CDP positions straight from university. Being a commie is vital to learn the basics well. I told you she had a hotel background. I was a commie for a year before I was promoted. I now float between pastry and larder. Being prepared to work hard, ask questions, but enjoy. This is really good. This is Anton from BAFTA.
Okay.
Head chef at BAFTA. Has been for a long time.
Yeah.
Superstar. Ask questions, be on time, be presentable, have fun, be confident, be flexible. Understand when you make a mistake, it doesn't define you, but what you learn from it will. Taste, have fun. Make friends as you're going to spend a lot of time with this team. Make sure your knives are sharp. Have fun. Cleaning is just as important as cooking. Understand your ingredients. Google is amazing. Have fun. Which I think is my favourite list. Willingness to learn with a good work ethic. Ready to work the hours and willing to understand it's a long journey to build up their knowledge. Understanding it's an investment of our time. Sometimes unpaid personal time to help make them into chefs. Had a bit of a query with that one. It's part of a head chef's job, or any chef's job, to teach, to train, to pass on skills. But anyway, master the basics is Alex, who's duck and waffle.
Okay.
good mate of mine, master the basics. I can give you a technique for the piece verification if you'd like. Don't hop around jobs too much when you're out. Grass is only ever different, not greener, and staying in places through some tough times will make you a better leader down the line, but not toxic places. Every restaurant has challenges which too many younger chefs these days jump ship as soon as it gets a little tough.
That's a good one.
That's really, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we even on induction, the guys come in, and even on interview, we're saying it can be a tough industry. You know, it's not easy. It's not all glitz and glamour. And so from the very start, before we even started, we try and reinforce that.
Yeah.
And the guys that are just finishing level 3, we're still saying you're probably not going to go and become a head chef very quickly. You've got to back up with what all those guys have just said. Yeah.
I think that the head chef thing, don't be obsessed with titles. You know, you can be a head chef of somewhere that is just microwaving and deep frying.
Yeah.
Well done. Or you could be a commie at a Michelin star restaurant and be learning amazing skills. And it doesn't have to be Michelin star, it's just a quality restaurant.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, the place I work with, I just saw Paul Ripley's name up there actually.
Yes.
And we were just chefs. And it was brilliant, you know. There was no title, there was no brigade, but you were a team, weren't you? So there's some good points there. Pastry one's quite good because I was going to mention that. I think there's a gap. We've got students not wanting to. Some of them are scared of it, so because it's maths, it's science, isn't it? And things can like it all can be. But we used to have a cohort of pastry chefs, and that's just kind of dwindled. What do you think about standalone pastry chefs in the industry?
Hopefully it's on the rise. Magic Whisk, who I've met just trading for a farmer's market.
Yeah.
But you could just, and then I saw her do a demo, and you could just tell that this is quality. Probably run a pastry section in several large hotels. You know, just a standard of work. And she runs a micro bakery now.
Cool.
So the skills are out there, and there are people willing to pass them on. But it is a bit niche. So, but then pastry sections are dwindling anyway in hotels, I think.
I find that
and restaurants
in Cornwall as well. Like a lot of our guys that do want to specialise, we're kind of saying we need to kind of go out of the county sometimes to get into London and the cities to specialise, which is a shame. So what we've listened to industry, like I know you're part of the forum that we've got, and a lot of guys are saying what business wants, they want an all-round chef. So we're trying to put those modules into our packages and tackle it like that, really.
I think the last thing we did together at the college was what I called a chef's test, which I thought was, that can be not part of the curriculum, but an attitude of problem solving, of dealing with things that change, because our industry changes, or our day-to-day things change, and last minute, extra guests, less guests, dietaries, change of time. So we were going to throw curveballs and give them very little to work on. Instead of the whole laminated sheet, this is what we want you to do, hold their hand through the whole process, completely reverse. Get on with it.
We haven't had a power cut that day as well.
Well, we didn't have to throw curveballs. It was their own, you know, the power cut started snowing.
Yes.
So the buses were going to be earlier. Was it a power cut that turned the gas off then?
Yeah, that's all linked. So if the wind blows in the wrong direction sometimes, which it can in St Austell, so they learn like it, you know.
They're looking around going, what do we do? And I said, you've told the senior lecturer he's on it, So that's management. They will sort the problem. It's not down to you to find fuse boxes. And they were like, and I'm not going to tell them. And I knew there was an induction. The next door kitchen was all electric.
That's it.
And when one student went, oh, induction next door, I said, go and nick it.
There you go.
Borrow it, forage for it. If you can, I'm not here to say no.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's more not just a chef's thing, it's an all-round person, I think, isn't it? We're developing these young people to then go, boom, right, you're in the industry now, and we're trying to...
And it's a fine line between having some confidence in yourself, but also knowing you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You know, listen twice as much as you talk. It's always a good maximum.
I might need that one.
It's for now. I should listen a lot more. But yeah, it's attitude, it's asking questions, it's volunteering.
Yeah.
And you see the results. I mean, in simple, with Dan and a fellow student went up to London to be part of the sausage roll-off. Met the wine guy from St John's,
Yes.
who was one of the judges. I can't remember his name. Trevor something. Senior guy, if you know what I mean, in age, and he was a wine guy for St John's. Offered him jobs.
Amazing.
Lottie was in a competition, student competition, met Nathan, ended up working with her on the Getting the Kitchen Time with Nathan.
Brilliant.
Why? Because they put themselves out there, competitions or volunteering, or and I think going to the festivals and helping out demo chefs, it makes connections with people.
Definitely.
And chatting with Lottie and saying, well, you've done two things. One competition, you get to work with Nathan.
Yeah.
You come to London for a silly competition, and now you could work at St John's.
It goes two ways, doesn't it? Because I was going to mention as well, like our guys, some of them live in the middle of nowhere, no transport, and they can get the college bus, and that's about it. But there's no work experience, and like we need industry to, like you said, unpaid, and so they have to do so many work experience hours. That's mandatory on the course.
Yeah.
So we need you guys. We need industry to be able to, put not an arm around them, but go, well, there you go. You can come and watch. You can come and watch a service. You can be involved. Oh, there's a weekend job, but actually it's a summer coming. We might be able to sort you something else.
I don't know. Well, because I was talking to Mark, my head chef at the hotel today, and I said, unfortunately, head chefs at the moment are dealing with this is what we've got as the day. We haven't got hundreds of applicants for pastry chef, for chef of parties, for common, for any position.
Yeah.
So youngsters are going to be nurtured, are going to be looked after. They're not going. Well, you can imagine it would be silly to have old school chefs. Well, I know of one old school chef who treated a student old school ways, and they seem to turn around and go, I don't actually have to tolerate this.
Yeah.
And I went, no, you don't. I thought you might have grown up a bit. That's a real shame.
Yeah.
Hell of a chef, but you're not going to get people working for you with that attitude of 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Definitely, you can't be. There's no place, is there?
So we need to nurture, bring them on, show them reality, show them washing up, show them mopping floors at the end of the night. I've been in this industry for 40 years, it's still mopping floors.
Yeah.
Still, well, occasionally not mopping.
We're still losing your day off at some point as well, isn't it? Losing your day off, losing your time
What's
off.
a day off again?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you find that?
So, yeah. So
I had 4 days of not work. Went back to the hotel today. But it was admin, it was doing podcasts, it was getting lists together, prep lists for stuff, private dinner tomorrow, back to the hotel Sunday, big thing next Saturday, big thing the following Saturday. I had to get my ducks in the line. So I had 4 days doing that. So, yeah.
So that's exactly what. Like I said, they're briefed, but you might do a 16-hour day. It's not ideal, but that's the reality of it. So they know, and I think they know what can be expected.
Yeah.
And I'm not sort of here to say, well, where are we going wrong or anything like that, because our guys achieve, and they all, in varying guises and levels, they will all have a job in the industry. So we're doing something right, but I just wanted to make sure it's really important that industry works with us. Do you know what I mean? And
classic example. The young girl was at Chef's Forum. We have students. Could have been Troika and stuff. I can't remember. You're all one big college family. She goes, "Hello, Adrian," and I went. She goes, "Oh, you judge me in Future Chef, which is a school."
Yeah.
And I said, "How did you do?" I said, "Oh," she goes, "Oh, well." Oh, well, that's brilliant. And here you are, 2 years later, a student. And then she goes on to be pastry chef. Student of the year.
Once that's Phoebe.
Phoebe, that's it.
Hi Phoebe, if you're
Hello,
listening, well
Phoebe.
done. And so she was.
So to see her journey from school, student.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what year is she in?
So she's just done a level 2, and I've got a level 3 student, Lucy, if Lucy's listening, she got 3rd place as well.
Yeah,
So,
she helped
yeah,
out at the Chef Forum thing.
yeah, we were in September, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
it's a massive network of connections that you make.
Yeah.
And to see her, I mean, it's just in about 4 years or something like that.
Let's get quick.
And then she'll be off.
Yeah.
You can see.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a passion for pastry. By winning competition, it opens doors.
Exactly.
Why? Because it's put itself forward to go and enter a competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about competition as a route to exposure or getting on.
But there's a few that want to, and Alan, I've got to mention Alan, he's actually taught him when I first started, that's how old I'm getting now. In the first year I taught Alan Holloway, and he went on to do lots of competition works, won Pastry Chef of the Year, and specialises in that. And he's nurtured our students now, and you can see it twofold growing, and then bringing on the next guys that want to do that. It's not for everyone competitions, is it?
But it's a route to working in as many kitchens as you can.
Yeah.
College kitchens are great, but they're college kitchens.
Yeah.
I did a lunch service for the guys. I think it was in representing other hotels for some reason. I don't think my head chef wanted to do it.
Right.
So I got in and went down. So you've got loads of people per section.
Yeah.
So you want them to experience real kitchens, even if it's just to observe, to pitch in. Peel potatoes, going with open eyes, absorb something from it.
Yeah.
It's never wasted. And even if they're not the great kitchens, you'll pick up, I don't like the way this is run, or I don't like these procedures, or it seems a bit dodgy. That's not, it's not a massive negative. Every kitchen you work in, you'll learn something, and even if it's, don't want to do it that way,
Yeah, still a learning curve, isn't it? Definitely.
and it'll hone you to, it's basically a massive funnel, expose yourself to all the stuff you can, make connections, put yourself out there, and then eventually you'll hone down to exactly what makes you happy, work-wise and career.
I think you've nailed it there, and what we try and do in January is which you're involved in as well, is Industry Week, where we get butchers in, we get fishmongers in, we've even had flour rangers in, for the front of the house, and sommeliers and cheese tasting and stuff, and showing them different bits. And we've got Josh here that's doing private dining, and you guys, so we're trying to open all their minds to actually it doesn't have to now be hotel, restaurant, pub, does it? There's an amazing career, thank you.
And it's down to you. There's never a thing. If you're good enough, you're old enough. That's the thing. You don't always have to be. Experience counts. So certainly when you're trying to manage other people. But skill level wise, if you've got the skills and you're old enough. Anyway, Josh, would you like to chip in? Yeah, come and sit down. We've done 17 minutes.
Have we already? Wow.
It's just, I will keep running out of memory, so I'm keep it short and sweet. Let's swap.
Hello, thanks Josh, brilliant. So we've only just met as well, haven't we? So, but yeah, so just talking about those journeys, like we literally champion to a student, you could just send to an agent, it doesn't have to be a pub chef, a hotel chef. So what's your experience so far?
My actual experience was college into the apprenticeship through college in a sort of gastro, probably more sort of serving fish than formal. Went from working in a small restaurant that did about 400 covers in the summer to working down in the food hotel.
Okay.
And I think I would have gotten there sooner, or thought I could have done sort of kitchen cooking if I had let myself leave early on.
Okay, great.
Because I never thought I was good enough, or I was too old.
Right.
And then we went from Driftwood to Gidley, and then me and my wife she got pregnant, so it was just like I can't be away like 95 hours. So she already had a private dining business, and we just joined forces and just been trying to slowly make a mark for ourselves around here.
That's brilliant. I think when I first moved to Cornwall many moons ago, like 1997, there wasn't a private dining thing, and I always thought, there's something there that could be a real niche and a good pull.
It it's very different to sort of working in a restaurant because it's not you're more client led on what you want to cook. I mean, you have some clients that are just like, no, I want this, and then someone more like, just surprises, just do whatever.
Brilliant.
And we've sort of done like 2 courses all the way up to like 8 course tastings, and they've just been like just run with it. And obviously when us and Adrian got here, I mean, we gifted the table. It's just like we should start doing some stuff here, really. It's a 3 metre oak table. And, it's just trying to get word out and let people know we're here.
I think it's amazing. It's brilliant. So going back to you kind of fell in. We had a conversation earlier. You kind of fell into going to college and into the culinary world. Did that stand you in good stead for your career?
I think going into it slightly older, I say slightly older, I was 18 instead of sort of 15, 16. Yeah. I think I had a bit more wealthiness, as much as you can as an 18-year-old. So I think picking up things a bit easier and sort of understanding how things work and having to make sure you get in early. And also, when things go wrong, have been that sort of a little bit more mature you're able to deal with. There's one time I remember, it's my first day in level 2, and we were supposed to be in at like 8 o'clock. Bus was late, I overslept, and I was like 2 hours late. Got complete roasting, and I think if I'd been younger or anything else, it would have just been like, right, this is it, I'm giving up. But I was just like, wasn't my fault. I went in, I cracked on, and I
Resilience,
got up the 2 dishes like half an hour after everyone else. It's just like,
That happens, doesn't it? In student, my job is nurturing students and bringing them on, trying to get that confidence into them and that self-belief, and it's hard, when you've got some of them that have gone through COVID, and like I said earlier, some of them have really poor backgrounds in Cornwall, and college is the only thing they have. So my job really is like, I'm quite honoured and privileged to be doing it. That's how I feel, and bringing them on. So importantly, I just really want we work really closely with a lot of businesses, and we've got our own kind of like employers forum, we call it, and Adrian's part of that, and some of the other guys. So we work really closely together, and I just wanted to make sure that we can get that word out, and sort of if it reaches anybody out there, fantastic. Piece of advice you'd have for a young level 3 leaver? If you could give them one piece of advice, what would you say, do you reckon?
I can do 2. Don't be afraid of failing. I think that's a big thing. Or don't let it destroy you when you don't get something right, even if it's not first time. I mean, I think coming from college, I was like, I know how to do this, and then being flamed in the real world. It's like, college is not the real world. You have things that go wrong, but then you've got other pressures, and just go easy on the party. It's like, especially when you're young, it's very tempting to be like, I can work 18 hours and then go out, and you can't. You just can't. You may think you can, but it breaks down. So don't be afraid to fail, and sort of don't be too hard on yourself, and just look after yourself outside of work as well.
That's a really good one, because we've got some learners that full-time college can be 4 days, and then we encourage them to have a part-time job. Some of them got some really good jobs, and they will work most evenings, all weekend, and I'm trying to say to them, yes, do it, but don't get to, like I did, 24 and find you haven't managed to see anything or do anything. We're always working sometimes, I feel. So we do try and kind of say you've got to have that balance, haven't you? You also want to do really well, haven't you?
I think I've still got a bit of that in me. It's like, no, we need to be working, and it's actually not I can step off a bit. I'm my own boss. I mean, you'll call me up like, why are you here?
Well, but then I spent 4 days not working, and I was here most days doing this random stuff. I mean, my bit of advice, this is for all chefs of all ages. When you go into a new kitchen, you bring your A game. If they ask you to make something, I always use the example of tartar sauce. and you ask, are we making our own mayonnaise? 99% of the time they'll say no. But bring your absolute A game and then scale it down. Get them to tell you, actually, no, we're going to, you know, because it's just the most professional thing to do is do the best thing. And you can always scale it down and it's a more of a catering operation. And I was doing some work at another hotel and there was a list of prep and it's a tartar sauce.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew they had bought mayonnaise, but there was no spec sheet, and I thought, if I make it wrong, and I was on my own until later, chef was coming in, so I thought, I'll just finally dice everything, lay it all out, that's the work, and then they can do it. I thought, I couldn't find any parsley or chives, and they were like, oh no, there is parsley, and he's dry parsley.
Okay.
It was really horrible, but that's fine. I'm glad that, you know, and we don't really put shallot in it, we kind of use onion, and you go, oh, okay. So bring your A game, you can always scale it back. If you go in with a sort of catering, you know, quick and easy, then they'll be in the kitchen and go, hang on, you know, let's do this properly. Yeah. And it's not right and wrong, it's just you have to be, you know, different kitchens will do things, all kitchens kind of do things differently. So you have to be flexible and just come in with the best you can do, and you can always scale it back and don't be afraid when a chef shows you a completely different way of doing something. I always say there's no right answers or wrong answers, there's just different answers to the, you know, how are we going to get this fish to the plate, how many processes is it going to go through. So yeah, you don't be...
That was one of my interview questions for the job I've got now, many moons ago. They said, if a student comes to you and says, well, our other lecturer says we don't make it like that, we make it this way, what are you going to say, sort of thing? And that's the answer, isn't it? You've got to be adaptable, there's many ways of doing things. So,
I've got a friend who worked at Namwell, and they had to obviously did like 4 different head chefs. This was back when Gary Jones was there, but he would have to change how he did things depending on which head chef was in, just to stay out of trouble.
You want consistency across it, but...
Yeah, it was still like, I think the end goal was right, but it was just like different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
They just, like, so they all had their own set way of doing it. That was it. So.
Another skill set to learn is who's on duty today, how are we going to do it? Yeah. Anything else you need, boss?
I want to say thanks for having me, and can I do a shameless plug about what's going to be going on at the college? So,
tell us.
Massive, huge, great, one of the biggest builds in the country for a college is happening on our doorstep, so St Austell, where I'm based. Brand new, fantastic restaurant. You know, it's going to be the same amount of training kitchens that we have at the moment, so they can still move around the areas. We're looking for, if there's anyone out there listening who would like to be involved in any sponsorship, anything like that, we'd love to hear from them. So, you know, the foundations are in and we're starting to see things going up very quickly. So don't be afraid, don't be a stranger, come and say hello. If anyone's out there wants to be involved, that's going to be the first carbon neutral college in the UK. So pretty cool.
Ticks your box, doesn't it?
Yeah, right here. So
I would have sort of done it.
So,
it's a generational thing.
But yeah, so really exciting times. If anyone wants to get involved with that, or if you guys know anybody, think they would, you know, sponsorship for cutlery, glassware, anything, or advice. You know, working with a few chefs that have already said, look, please get me involved. So the doors are open. Please, come and share viewpoints. And,
well, I love working with students and working with the colleges because, without sounding like a knob, is to put something back. You know, I've had the best time of my life cooking and looking after people and being in hospitality, and you want youngsters to get it, that it's such a variety of jobs out there. And even if you don't, if you do your college course, part-time, apprenticeship, full-time, whatever it is, and that's 2-3 years of your life, and then you spend a little bit of time in the industry, those skills are incredibly valuable for life.
Life skills, isn't it?
You know, dealing with the public, being in front of the house, that's
a whole other ball that we can talk about from the house for.
that takes getting used to talking to the
Yeah.
public.
Especially today's generation of youngsters, where there is a lot of mobile phone use, and we're saying downtime. You're going to be in talking to customers next week when we're open on week 2. So it's really important to have that engagement. And
But the flip side of that is that you get contact with the whole industry on your phone, and you can make connections. You don't have to write a letter. You can send someone a direct message and go, I'm really interested in what you're doing, can I come and spend a day in your kitchen? And I'd say 9 times out of 10 the chef's going to go, yes. Because A, we're always looking for new staff, new talent, new youngsters to bring on. And B, why wouldn't you have someone come in and just show off? It's a great industry. It's not for everybody, but if you I've been in it for 40 years. I've not been a chef for 40 years, but I've put on a chef jacket 40 years ago, and I still get excited by it. I still love it. And you want to just transfer that onto the next one and go, kind of anything's possible. It's a really, open-ended book that you can just.
That's what I said to Josh earlier. I said I'm privileged in what I do, and you get to shape these youngsters over 3 years, some of them over 4 years, and then they come back and they give to.
Yeah, it's like Tim coming back. Tim Kendall.
Yes.
And I only kind of know of him because he was at college with a friend of mine who was a mature student. And Tim's just going on to smash it. But he still comes back to college and does stuff, and
We were lucky.
So yes, more of that. If you're a chef out there, I said it on Instagram last night, don't moan about students if you're not prepared to help. If you moan, then you should step up and go, well, how can I help?
Yeah, if you're moaning, you're part of the problem. Right? If you're not really-
Youngsters today, to be honest, the ones I deal with, they're a credit. They're interested. Should we wrap it up?
I'll second that. Just last point on that.
Oh,
if
you
that's
was
okay.
the last
sorry,
point.
Sorry, no. Employers Forum. If any chefs out there want to be on our Employers Forum to shape the curriculum like you've been in the past and are, you're welcome as well. So work together. Many minds make light work, don't they? So.
Well, that's the thing. College used to be so structured, so closed, in the same way as the industry. Well, it did reflect the industry, and now it is.
That's the bit really my day.
Oh yeah, it's still the same. Do you know what I mean? The attitude.
Yeah.
We didn't have chefs come in to see us. We didn't see the public. We would, have open kitchens or passes that you could see people and interact. We hid in the kitchen, and that was kind of reflective of the industry. When I was at my first hotel job, you didn't see the public, you didn't see the restaurant. You just saw white walls and bright lights and
Hide out the back and
shouty, blah. Anyway, is that a wrap?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely.
Press the button, Josh,
Thank
because
you
it's a
for
long
listening.
way away.